And we're back. Though it's going to be a little while before the website chat catches up to that fact, unfortunately for them, because we're about to have an indescribable amount of fun. Let me get the game going again. You know how it is. You know what I'm talking about. The website, folks. Live running. All right, are we back? Did we do it? Are we back in the common eye? Marco. Yeah, it's a start. Rogan like dumbly nodded his fat potato head, and Krystal, it's not hosting properly for me. I can fix that. There we go. Now we're back. And welcome back. Hello. That should about sort it out. Marco. That is the wave that I like to see. Thank you very much. Let's get back to it. Please work. I went through all the effort. Please. Please. Don't do me like this. No! It might be a corrupted save. We can try loading an older one. Oh. Well, that's not right. Load game. Load previous save. An alt-right Instagram account called Gender Fluid Pickle with 1.1 million followers wants to debate you. Is that right? Is this for real? What the fuck? I restarted the game. Maybe I have to form a new save? Do we have nothing else? I just want to play the game. Gender Fluid Pickle Instagram. Gender Fluid Pickle. Gender Fluid Pickle has 100,000 followers, not 1.1 million. And their account is private, so I can't see what they're saying. Though their bio does say they post controversial and edgy stuff. So where did they say they want to debate? Hold on. Alien isolation slow loading. What driver are you using? NVIDIA driver issues, but it was just working earlier. Very long loading times. Huh. Not entirely sure what to do with that. It's really annoying. It seems to be tied to the part of the game. Yeah, but the saves were loading just fine with this part of the game earlier. Yeah, do we just default to debates? Are there any people who want to debate? Probably not, considering we restarted the stream, which means we have fewer viewers. Ugh. I did verify. Maybe creating a new save will help? Jeez, coming down hard on the chatters. I'm just gonna wait until I can save again, see if that helps at all. Game recommendation, Enter the Gungeon. I've played Enter the Gungeon. But with your goddamn game recommendations. Okay. Do it. I saved. I don't have a particularly high opinion of the probability of this working. Yeah, nope. Well, shit. I wonder what I can do long term then. Does anyone have any possible long-term solutions to this? Try loading a new area, my guy? Well, I can't do that without getting through this area. Solid-state drive? I have a solid-state drive. That's not gonna work. This is not going to work. Yeah. What if we go all the way back to the mission save?
Ricardo.
Oh!
Ricardo.
Ripley, the Isadora blast took out the orbital stabilizers.
Whoa!
About to fall from the sky.
I think we're a while back.
The comms are still locked. The ambulance you just docked is screwed. The torrent is our only way off this.
But it's working. Yeah, we're a while back, but it's working.
The broadcast from the lane just updated.
Hello, Sevastopol. Can you respond? We just saw a ship blow on your starboard side, took out an entire orbital stabilizer array. We have no place to dock. Please, tell us what's going on in there.
Enjoy
We can take
Ricardo
survivors.
while he's still around.
I'll leave this channel open. Torrens out.
This might work. I'll check that in just a mo, Flevier. Let's see if we have any problems with this now. Well, sorry about all the fuss, guys, but we'll see if this manages to work. If we end up re-entering that area and it ends up fucking up again, then I might end up just doing this part off stream, honestly. I don't want to subject all of you to the rigors of fucking 2-minute load sequences.
Security just came through.
Oh, fuck, we have to do this shit again. Yeah, we have to go over there.
Guns in hand, not friendly. I had to hide under a desk.
What do they want?
The Torrens. They heard the broadcast. They want to contact it. I think they plan on taking it by force.
Can they?
No, comms are still out. Stay clear of them though. They're dangerous and desperate.
Shit. What features were lacking from a subreddit and Discord server that made you want to have your own site? Live chat feed. That's pretty much it. Just a live customizable chat. Do you have any idea how essential White Nervosa's website, this website, is to my work? If I just had YouTube chat, I would kill myself. YouTube chat with no fucking cool-ass custom shit we can do here, none of the modifications, none of the differentiations we can make. The emotes, everything. Yeah, Roxiel, I mean, that's how I feel about D.GG. Alright, we made it. Yeah, I did it for the funny frogs. Nice, okay, we're speed running this area. Nicely done, team. Probably picked up a little bit less ammunition than I would have otherwise, but... Hey. What does GG stand for? I just picked GG because Destiny had his site on a GG host server. Now, hopefully the save doesn't get all fucky again. No ooh posting allowed. My goddamn website. We're able to get more bolt ammo. Xenomorphs are Nazis, changed my mind. Miguel, I will not, because you're so fucking correct. Nice. So fucking true. Everyone I disagree with is a Nazi.
You okay?
Listen,
This guy's about to be dead.
missions are still logged at this terminal. If we had the coordinates for the torrents, we could align the transmitter dishes manually, bypass Apollo completely.
There's an observatory near the comms array, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Araxio, part of it is the barrier for entry. That's why YouTube chat is so consistently terrible. Anyone can just run in there and start typing shit as long as they have a YouTube account, which they do, almost guaranteed. But with the website chat, you have to find the website, you have to create an account, you have to link it to an existing account, and then you show up. And your showing up is instantly noticeable because you have a white name, and because I don't recognize your name, because there's a smaller community, and that also means that we can pull up logs on the things that you've said. It just makes moderation and community cultivation so much nicer. And yeah, you know, it lets people make friends. I bet a lot of you in chat right now have made friends with other people from this chat. Hey, Radical Reviewer. The Budio blames are going mixed. We had some tech issues, but I think we've more or less fixed it now. We'll see, though. We haven't died yet. If we die and it goes back to the 2-minute load times, I'll be upset. Well, that's a shame, Spoony Duder. One of the nice things about this chat is the fact that it encourages a lot of community building amongst the people who participate in it. If everyone in chat is just talking to and about me, it makes it pretty difficult for a community to form.
Apollo won't let me in. Try your codes again. Okay.
First thing you hear is all kinds of noise in the vents.
Well, that's what your Discord is for? That's true.
Start praying.
Would I take the Iro pill or nah? I like Iro. Iro's a cool duderino. What's the difference between economic accelerationism and political accelerationism? Economic accelerationism is stuff like strikes, striking, you know, unionizing, that kind of stuff. It exacerbates the material antagonisms between the working class and the bourgeois class, which is good because the more those antagonisms are exacerbated, the more, you know, the angrier workers tend to get, the more power the workers tend to develop, because the deck is generally, as a default, stacked in favor of the bourgeois. But political accelerationism is essentially making sure that the worst candidates win, because it'll make the workers angrier. Unfortunately, I don't think that works. I think a lot of the workers in this country are angry, but that anger can be just as easily directed towards fascism or nationalism as it could towards the actual interests of workers. Also, having people like Donald Trump in charge, while it may encourage some workers to, Oh, I see. While it may encourage some workers to care more about workers' rights, is also going to move a lot of them to the right, and moreover, it's going to make it more difficult to engage in direct action, which is an issue, obviously. So, economic accelerationism, good. That is to say, strikes, protests, rallies, unions, political accelerationism bad. That is to say, letting Donald Trump win, so on and so forth. What does that have to do with UBI? Because UBI, well, my argument is that UBI shelters workers from the material conditions of workplace inequality. That if everybody has a social safety curtain to fall back on, if there's a cushion under everyone's butts, then it makes it more difficult for workers to understand the extent to which the system is unfair. Yeah, Safety Skull, that's true. The overwhelming public support for Black Lives Matter has been really, really fucking cool. Like, it's actually been super, super hope-pilling, in my humble opinion, to see so many people go for that. Remember when Clinton and Gingrich destroyed the welfare system and it led to socialism? Oh, wait. Yeah, true, radical.
Thank God. Ricardo, I found them.
Now you've got to align the dishes to the tolerance position manually.
Check. I'm going outside.
Okay. We're almost caught up to where we were, guys. I'm really, really sorry about the weird, jumpy stream. I just, I want to play with you guys. I have seen the TPUS video on Chaz. And as for Jimmy Dore, let me be perfectly clear. Jimmy Dore, I'm just gonna say it this one time, okay? God help me, forgive me, my partner. Jimmy Dore's fucking retarded. Fuck Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore's a fucking moron. You want to know something funny? If you want to go back in Jimmy Dore's videos, if you want to look through them, okay? If you want to look at Jimmy Dore's videos, look at the like-dislike ratios of the different types of content that he does. All the videos where he criticizes Trump severely or says the wall is a bad idea have massive dislike ratios. You know why? Because his audience is full of right-wingers who just clap like seals when he criticizes the Democratic Party. All Jimmy Dore cares about is being the most populist, the most anti-establishment left-leaning person available. And that'll lead him to do anything, including criticizing people like fucking AOC and Bernie Sanders, because they do anything to integrate themselves into the actual power structures of this country. He is followed by a fucking avalanche of Nosbols, class reductionists, fucking disillusioned burnouts, and conservatives who just like seeing him dunk on people they don't like.
I can unlock the entrance to the airlock from here. Give me a sec.
There. First time I've said it this month, by the way.
There, got it.
Good boy. I'm a good boy. I'm not in God's image. Chicken wing, hot dog, and bologna chicken, and macaroni chilling with my homies. True, Teddy. Very fucking true. I don't know anything about Willy Brandt. You plan to argue with Discord people tonight? Hyena, who do we have lined up? Are there any people who are lined up? Jimmy Dore literally believes 9/11 was an inside job. Well, hey, listen, let's not toss out the baby with the bathwater, okay? Libraven, that's a big brain question. What's up? No, I was wondering if you had any people presently lined up.
I can get some.
So you know of people?
Yeah, I just don't have them confirmed.
Gotcha. But what are they? What do they believe?
I can double check and text you.
Gotcha. Baby. Oh, he's sleepy. He's purring. Yeah? Nope. He wants to eat me. How about I eat you? Yeah, you don't like it very much, do you? Blub, 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 blub. Blub, blub, blub. We gotta trim your nails. You're cute. Look at his beans. So sleepy. Yeah. Nope. Nice try. Mwah. One of these days you'll get me. But I am too fast for you. Mwah. Are there any right-wing thinkers who are worth listening to? Unironically, Jordan Peterson. I think that, well, not anymore, maybe. I think Jordan B. Peterson, his popularity highlights the fact that men are looking for fulfillment in a very specific way, and by listening to him, we don't take his advice, but we try to triangulate the concerns that men have, you know? We want to understand why JBP got so popular. Were you saying you believe 9/11 was an inside job, or was that a joke? That was a joke. I mean, I do believe that the Bush administration lied about the perpetrators of 9/11. I think that it was probably evident to them pretty much from the word go that that Saudi Arabia was pretty much to blame, but, you know, redirect the blame, Iraq, you know, Afghanistan. And I think it's possible, maybe, that George Bush or the Bush administration knew something was going to happen and they allowed it to happen. But that, even that's conspiratorial. But that's as far as I would go. The whole, like, holograms, bombs, controlled demolition shit, no. Jimmy Dore said planes can't take down a building like that? Yeah, okay, well, Jimmy Dore is fucking stupid. Yeah, Temmie, we just don't know what they knew or what they said they knew, you know? Actually, Hyena, I think that's okay. I appreciate it, but that's alright. I don't feel like hearing another person defend totalitarianism. Your take on Sexit? Not a fan. Again, guys, sorry we're doing this segment again. I know that it treads on the wonder a little bit, having to do it twice, but I just wanted to play the game with you guys. Sexit? California exit. Kexit. Whatever you want. Summer vibe, safety skull. I gotta go over Tonos. Sake with the incredibly kind 20 bucks. 7-Eleven was an inside job. Hot brewed coffee isn't health enough to melt chimichangas. You guys remember? I still can't believe there are people who unironically
Damn it!
thought the steel beams argument was convincing. Vivian, thanks to the tier 1 sub. I'm really happy I was able to help you out with the arguments. Hell yeah. My boyfriend, his partner, and I. Ah, you fucking polycule queers. I'm onto you. The jet fuel can't melt steel beams argument. There was no melted steel found at ground zero. It's a case-by-case thing, Stoops. Oh, Shigawire with the incredibly kind 15 bucks. Jordan B. Peterson, or as I know him, the Incel Commander. Yeah, that dude is like the Incel fucking Grand Vizier, you know? Jesus. Yeah, the lighting in this game is spectacular. That's a little on the loud side. I'll think about it later, transhumanist space ANCOM. No, ignited jet fuel can't melt steel beams either, Horace Horsecollar. What happened was, and it's so simple, like this is such an easy answer. First of all, you don't need to melt the steel beams of a skyscraper to make the skyscraper collapse. You just have to weaken them. Heat weakens metal the closer you get to its melting point. It doesn't actually have to melt. Like, have you never seen blacksmiths? They literally, you heat up the metal so you can manipulate it more easily. You heat up a bar of steel so you can forge it into a sword. That's how it works. It doesn't have to melt. Just it being red hot is enough to make it much more malleable. And second of all, the melted metal that you saw at Ground Zero wasn't steel. It was aluminum. Just because there are steel beams in skyscrapers doesn't mean that there aren't other types of metals at the scene. Like, for example, what is a light metallic alloy that might be used in a plane that has a lower melting temperature than steel? Aluminum. It was aluminum. It melted, obviously, because jet fuel can melt aluminum. Maybe Castor Gruvar. It's up to you, comrade. I saw that Nightscape War. Pretty big meme. True, funny rhetorician, yeah. I don't like dealing with conspiracy that much. Are you scared of Cotton as a 2024 Republican nominee? Not so much, I don't think. I don't think so. The kinetic energy of the plane didn't help either. Yeah, from what I've heard from like engineering reports, the idea that those buildings could collapse from what they were subjected to is entirely plausible. I don't think that Tom Cotton has the same appeal that Trump does. We'll have to see, I guess. I'm just optimistic. Am I black? Yes, it is known. There we go. We're almost caught up. We're almost caught up to where we were. Nice weekly winner. Here, since we're kind of getting back on track, let me catch up with a few donos. I feel bad for holding them off for so long. Sake Tanuki with the incredibly kind 20 bucks. Kyle has done far more harm than good with his quadrupling down on garbage takes and setting up those who transition from the right with weak arguments. Yeah, I do kind of believe that. Well, no, I don't... I can't quantify that. I think that Kyle's done a lot of harm and a lot of good. I'm not going to play, like... I'm not going to, like, take it to the abacus, you know? But I think it's fair to criticize him. Larson14 with the 10 bucks. Hi, what do you think of egoism? I think egoism can be cool. I don't think it's incompatible with, like, leftism or anything like that. Parker Wallace, the 10 bucks. Fireworks have been going off in Brooklyn for a week or two now, and no one knows if people are trying to throw off police scanners or if people are trying to unsettle residents. Oh, shit. Is that real? I thought that guy earlier with the fireworks and honking and shit, I thought that person was just playing a soundboard. I didn't think they were being real. That's kind of funny and weird. Good luck, I guess. I'd be pretty annoyed if I was living in Brooklyn. Log Dog with 5 bucks. Thanks for the 5 bucks. I will not debate you on poop. Very sorry. Araxia with the 5 bucks. I now believe Sean, Crystal Ball, Rem, and Destiny are controlled opposition to make sterling lefties kill themselves. Oh, and they do a good job. Apex Centrist Vox, the tier 3 sub. Your intellectual honesty makes it very hard to stay a centrist, but I'm happy to say you're doing a moral good in educating the nutjob lefties. Thanks. Happy to hear you think I'm doing a good job of wrangling the crazy lefties. I'm trying my best, of course. For there are many of them, but I think they are well-intentioned for the most part, you know? What are you gonna do? Well, the thing you do is start a YouTube channel, obviously. Sake with the $20, all while looking like the sleazy owner of a nightclub in LA with more gold curtain rods than a Dubai bed avion. True! Stay not tacky, my friends. Althasarian with the $20. If I set up a Winnie the Pooh themed porn, will you play Christopher Robbins? It would really depend on my compensation. For my breakout hit, I would need to be well compensated. Zuzu with the tier 2 sub, thank you. Hey, that post in your sub is mine. I wrote out the initial post to see if there'd be interest in a more extensive critique. Excited for it in good faith. Yeah, you can send me an email or make a Reddit post, whatever you prefer. But if I do respond, it'll be on stream. I never have the time to respond at length in text, but I do appreciate criticism, even if I may think it's misguided. Candy Goon with the $5. You're a good dude, Vosh. Your shirt is making me uncomfortable. I don't look sexy, guys. I'm in horrible lighting. I haven't shaved in a week. I'm wearing just a cheap tank top that's like doesn't even fit me properly. Okay, you don't need to fucking butter my biscuit or anything. Jesus Chris Almighty, thanks to the $2. In God's image with the very, very kind tier 4 sub. Burn all flags and erase every border. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. True! What fancy biblical language you have employed in this donation. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, comrade. Dumb bitch, I think that edgy YouTubers who have adopted more progressive views are probably still edgy dipshits who don't understand much about politics. But I think that on the whole, a lot of them are probably decent people, and I would love to reach out to them. If I could talk to iDubbbz or H3H3 one day, that'd be pretty fantastic. But we'll see. Hooba Booba, 85D2D Derek. When is the dual debate with Destiny? It's gonna be like Monday or Tuesday. Do you know who you're debating against? Yeah, Mike Enoch and Eric Stryker, but we'll see if they pussy out or not, because it looks like they might. Itilos with a very kind $20. Vosh, will you debate Sam Harris and end him? His recent BLM podcast was bad. Yeah, it was terrible. But he would never debate me. I mean, I would debate him, but he would never debate me. Ella LeBlanc, thank you very much for the $1. Soko, I don't know who Dumentio is, I'm afraid. Rydrake, I'm afraid that I would need to look a little more into the Berman and Trump tax return and Bolton and what have you. I've been in a little bit of a BLM protest populist haze over the past few weeks. I'm afraid I'm not that familiar with what you're referring to. Sorry. Okay, and then I read a few of these donations out already. I meant more debunking the meme. I found this is the article that cites CDC data pointing towards unmarried but cohabitating families. Oh shit, wait, this could be interesting. Debunking the most pervasive myth about black fatherhood. "71.5% of black non-Hispanic children 2013 were born to unmarried women, compared to about 30% of white non-Hispanic children. But as Josh Levs points out in his new book, about 60% of black fathers live with their children. Lev's numbers suggest that it's not true, as the CDC figure suggests, that the 71.5% of black dads are absent from their homes, but rather that many of them are simply unmarried. Percent of fathers 15 to 44 living with their children under 5 who on a daily basis federate meals with them, bathed or diapered or dressed them, played with them, read to them. And these percentages seem to be about the same for white and black. In fact, for black, they're higher on a few of these points. I would need to look at this data, but if this is the case... I'll look at that. I can get some good information out of that. Thank you. For sure, Zephyr. Bad Queer with the $2. You mentioned lead poisoning in your 1350 video. Could you go more into detail on its effects? I got it as a toddler and I'm also highly fucked up. I mean... The effects of lead poisoning on the brain are pretty well documented. It can cause death, but even at lower levels, it leads to stuff like lower IQ, higher criminality, higher propensity towards violence, shorter attention span. It really just fucks your brain up, honestly. I'm not a neurologist. I mean, I don't have all the reason, I don't have all the effects like in my brain, but it's pretty bad. Oof. Oh, gotcha, pessimist. So Comcast has been having issues lately? All right, duly noted. I'll keep that in mind. Lara with tier 1 sub, maybe that'll help. Decriminalization makes something not criminal to do, as the word implies. Something being legal is basically the opposite of being illegal. Yeah, I'll try to keep that in mind. Who's your favorite JoJo? Josuke. Parker Wallace, I am now aware of the fireworks going off in Brooklyn. I have been made aware of them. Thank you. Cheers for actually making me more aware about social issues and shit. No problem, Sushio. I love doing my shit. Thank you. And new here, I would like to talk to Bo of the Fifth Column sometime in the near future. I think it'd be a lot of fun. War Kaiser, you are unmuted by now. I love you. Thank you very much. I did that. Baby, very true, P-Hype. Did that. DJ Peppo. Jet fuel, steel beams, all I want to do is meme and cream. DJ Peppo, sing it, Vosh, where I want my money back, Pepe. There we go. I nailed it. Fucking nailed it. Radical reviewer with the $5. Recent call-in said co-ops don't work because workers dumb. Destiny argues democracy doesn't work because people dumb. How do you address the average people dumb argument? I literally just don't think there's any evidence to the idea that democracy produces worse outcomes than like authoritarianism. I don't see that. People keep making these arguments. Workers are dumb. Co-op workers can't. Oh yeah. So are things being better managed by the owners? Are they not dumb? And if they're not dumb, what makes them not dumb? My argument is that, and the data seems to show, worker co-ops tend to be run pretty fucking well. They tend, comparatively speaking, they tend to be run better and more stable than traditionally owned firms of similar situation. So in what way are they dumb? What does that mean? I'm going to be perfectly honest. This democracy doesn't work because people are dumb shit is just a lazy fucking Rick and Morty tier deference to the perceived superiority of your intellect over the average person's. It's you crossing your arms and smugly braying at people because you aren't smart enough to recognize the systemic causes of issues. And unironically, making that argument as a replacement for like a real sociological analysis really is the intellectual equivalent of saying, well, if I was president, I'd fix everything. Those idiots don't know what they're doing. If I was in charge. It is that intellectual equivalent. If that's the level people are on, like it's just very, very fucking lazy. The data just doesn't support it. Also, the point of democracy isn't just to bring about the best outcome. It's also to bring about representation to the people who want it. I would rather have a society in which people have the freedom to decide their own paths than a society which people don't, but things are very slightly more economically or technocratically efficient. But thankfully, that's not a choice I have to make, since the data seems to indicate that democracy brings about better outcomes. I should clip that for TikTok. That's a good TikTok argument right there. I've been trying to think of little clips. When did I make that? What time in the VOD are we? How many minutes are we in? 45 minutes? I'm gonna remember that. Someone make mention of that. 45 minutes in. I gotta try to remember that. Thanks, Billy Drokill. What's your take on The Last of Us 2 drama? Crisis Thespian, it's entirely possible The Last of Us 2 is a bad story, but I'm not going to take that opinion from somebody who unironically believes transgender people are ruining the internet. Zeloff, I am not going after Keemstar. Are you fucking kidding me? Holy shit. What would I get out of that? Everyone on the internet over 13 already knows that that Keemstar is a fucking monster. What am I supposed to get from that? I'm nowhere near big enough. Just another muffin. Terribly sorry, but that's not a service I'll be paying for. The person who timestamps my VODs will be doing it for volunteer reasons. There are a few more donations, but I want to get back to the game. Thank you, baby. I'll address those shortly. Yeah, Radical Reviewer, it makes a bad copy. Yeah, I heard about it, relax.
This is Ripley on the station. Are you reading me, Verlaine?
Ripley, what the hell is going on over there?
Bad things, Torrance. There's an alien
Toilet paper
organism
over
here.
or under
It's
the roll?
deadly.
Over,
We need
obviously.
urgent extraction.
A what?
There's no time to explain. Please, Verlaine.
There's nowhere for us to dock, Ripley. The station's tearing free from its gravity mooring. I've seen a towing platform below the spaceflight terminal, but the Torrens
What are you, a
embargo isn't
fucking
built for
moron?
it. You'll need to extend
If
the
it's
support
under,
from
then
that
it's nearly
station
impossible
side.
to rip
Just
off
get
the
into
roll
position.
unless you use both hands. One to stabilize the roll and one to actually tear the sheet. If it's over, because you have leverage with your thumb against the actual base of the roll, you can tear the sheet off of the roll by pressing your thumb against its body. It's objectively better to use over rather than under. Oh, Willie Bratstan, I'm really wait, Willie, I'm sorry your dono didn't get read. Sometimes stuff gets dropped. Can you type out your donation? I didn't miss it on purpose or nothing. I just, Or wait, was it one of the donations that I just said I would do in a sec? No, it isn't. It got skipped. I'm really sorry. Yeah, type it out. You don't just jerk your arm to rip the TP? That's not that reliable of a method. Unless you really fucking yoink it. Like really want to throw your shoulder into it. Like, pretty reliably trying to do the yank method will lead to just it getting pulled. Like, alongside. You'll end up, like, taking off, like, 20 sheets, you know? People on Twitter say you want poor people to die because you don't support UBI. Oh, well, people on Twitter are dumb. Also, poor people should get benefits. That doesn't mean UBI. What the fuck was that? Just because I don't want a UBI system under capitalism doesn't mean I don't want benefits for poor people who need it. Have you changed your mind on wiping back to front? Listen, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you people and your bodies. When I wipe back to front, I'm literally only wiping my asshole. I don't wipe anything off of my asshole. Nothing else happens. I don't know what you guys are doing. If you guys just have like some crazy fucking manual dexterity issues. So like when you wipe back to front, you're smearing shit in a 6-inch streak all the way up to your fucking scrotum. But when I wipe back to front, it's literally just like a small motion on my asshole. I genuinely like don't know what the fuck you people are doing. Shigawire with the $15. How do you orient the toilet paper roll over or under? Which one is the correct one? Shigawire, what? Wait, what do you mean? Didn't we just address that? Didn't we just address that very specific question? Willie Brandstand, thank you so much for the 15 bucks. Love the work you're doing. Recommend you look up Willy Brandt, because he's one of those left-leaning leaders Germany ever had. A great person all around. Yeah, you can take a look, comrade. You have yourself a good sleep, okay? Don't stay up too late. It's bad for you. Thank you. Yeah, true radical reviewer. Why did fascists like Yang so much? Yang made a few tweets about white birth rates and some other weird stuff. Pothole, cut it out. Crimson Shin with the incredibly kind 20 bucks. Are there any future potential right-wing presidential candidates you're especially concerned about? Ted Cruz it could conceivably be a pretty big problem. Gotcha, Haina. Ted Cruz can conceivably be an issue, but apart from that, I don't know. I would have to think about it. Okay, guys, we're basically back where we were before. I'm gonna test it. I'm gonna test it. Please, God, load properly. We're in the same area we were. I need to know. I need to know. I need to know. Huh? Everyone load Yamaro. Yes! Okay. No, not Yamaro. Pog!
Ricardo, get ready to move.
Load Yamaro doesn't mean fire off Yamaro. It means load it. You fucking jackals.
Ricardo, do you copy? Ricardo, come in.
Hold on. Well, hey, now you have to fill me in. Just keeping up with the kids. You know how it is. Love you, Sneaker Stump. Can I take a second to gush? Do you guys have any idea how proud I am of this community? I mean, some of this is on me. I mean, some of this is on me. I think I run a pretty good show, and I'm proud of the work that I do. But I know for a fact that I would not be able to do it with the vim and vigor I have if it were not for the fact that my community is genuinely welcoming, oh boy, and kind and decent and wholesome and what have you. Makes me real happy. And it makes me excited for the future, because it's entirely possible that sometime in the near future, sir? It's entirely possible that at some point in the near future, we're going to end up being one of the most influential lefty voices on the internet. And I am being entirely sincere when I say that that couldn't have happened without you guys. Seriously, everything, even this recent TikTok boom only happened because a fan of mine was incessant in posting clips of mine onto TikTok.
Ricardo, get ready to move. We're leaving. Ricardo? Ricardo, do you copy? Ricardo, come in.
Well, Electrical Cat, I encourage people in my community to disagree with me, and it helps that I often have very hyperbolic, inflammatory takes. I've seen an insane amount of Vosh thirst on TikTok. Yeah, I try not to pay attention to it because it's all jailbait, but yeah, it is, I guess, flattering that they like me? How many subs were you at this point last year? Probably 25,000, maybe a little less. Oh yeah, can you imagine?
Intruder!
What?
You heard us.
Are you kidding me? Okay. Hey. Hey. Underage Vosh Sims give me mommy daddy issues vibes, and I'm not here for it. Dude, even the fucking adult viewers of mine who thirst over me keep doing the daddy shit. I wish everyone knew I don't play a dominant role during sex. Like, I don't do power dynamics during sex. I'll roleplay it, like, online, I guess. Like, back when I was a kid and I didn't have a girlfriend or whatever, like, that was kind of fun. Because it was more of an abstract narrative, but, like, in actual real life, like, I just don't care. I don't like power dynamics that much in sex. How much do you think you'd be growing if you were still on Twitch? I don't know. I don't know. Reckon you can hit 200K by the end of the year? Well, let's think. We've got about 6 months and 10 days left. So if we average that out real nice... Oh, jeez. I really, really want to save, but I'm going to need the Xenomorph to not have direct line of sight. Please. please. Okay. Duly noted, Coke Fork, and much appreciated. I like the idea of being a big brother. You know what's even better than sex? Power and influence. Let's be real, okay? Can we be real for a second? Pothole. Pothole, I'll ban you if you keep using those characters. Power and influence, baby. That's the real goddamn shit. One thing that really bothers me is I feel like my entire life as a political actor, the whole time I was in university and everything, I was, super ill commenters? What do you mean, Radical Reviewer? The whole time, like, I felt so powerless, you know? Like, oh my god, there are so many problems in the world, and what's more, the left isn't doing anything about it. The left is not fixing it. The left doesn't seem equipped to handle the conversations that are going on online, you know? Especially back during Gamergate. Like, do you have any idea how frustrating that was for me? When I would, like... Hey, those characters, stop! Death to Ohio. Oh, damn, we got the music. Back during Gamergate, I was so frustrated all the time. I'd get so upset every time I was online. Not because there was so much reactionary conservatism, though that was an issue. It was because the left, it's because the left was just not equipped to handle it. But now, finally, I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit, I'm starting to be able to course correct a little bit. Maybe. I'm finally getting the strength, the influence, to push a little bit in the other direction. And it's only a year and a half in. If I continue growing at this rate, if exponential growth continues as it has, then there's a very real possibility that maybe we can actually, like, fix something, you know? Maybe we can actually, like, meaningfully address some of the issues the online left has with advocacy.
How you holding up? You okay?
And we are now caught up.
Sorry, nothing.
Nah, Macaroni, all my bad shit is pretty public. I don't think there's anything I've ever done that isn't, like, known. Oh, that's right, we were doing math. So if on average I have about 190 days left until the end of the year, let's just say that's 200 for simplicity's sake. And I have about, I have about 130,000 subs now, which means I would need to get 70,000 subs in 200 days. That comes out to around 350 subs a day, which is a very easy threshold to pass. Probably, let's say 360, 370, because I rounded up to 200 from 190. But if we can continue getting 1,000 subs a day, which is unlikely, but possible, on average, then we can get 300,000 or more, maybe. TJ's live right now and he's talking about your class reductionism video. Fuck yeah, TJ's based. Oh shit. Don't fire. It'll attract Xenomorph. Oh yeah, when the Nick Videos debate hits, that's going to get me a lot of attention too. Probably a Telluride. We're gonna need to move. Shigawire, thank you so much for the incredibly kind 50 bucks. Jesus. We need to sort you out with a proper PC at some point. Hope this helps. Shigawire, my computer is really good. I just only have one. Normally streamers have 2 computers. But yeah, I do want to get like a proper secondary computer to stream from. That would be the goal, at least. And that would allow me to play Warhammer. Would you guys watch me play Warhammer 2? At least a little bit of it? Ibloka with a tier 2 sub. Your amazing Autism Gang rise up. You've inspired me to start engaging with more people about politics. Would you consider doing a streamer segment about welfare myths? Yes, I would love to. It would just take some research. You're getting muted, but that's a good Ahegao face. That's actually a pretty good one. Most of them are pretty trash. Alright. Yeah, it was actually a pretty good Ahegao. I mean, credit where credit's due. Nice. With new streaming tech and new AMD CPUs, a secondary streaming computer is absolutely not at all necessary. I don't know if I believe that. Lair with the $5, you okay? You just seem a little on edge and make a lot of kill myself jokes. Hope you don't push yourself too hard regarding responsibility with 100k subs. Oh, no. Lair, I make less kill myself jokes now than I did a year ago. Don't you worry. I'm just edgy and irreverent. I feel pretty great. Actually, my mental health has never been this good, at least not over the past 4 years. It can be stressful having all the public attention on me, but also, frankly, I'm an attention whore, and I love it. I just love it. I love it so much. I didn't reload. God. Why? That's pretty great, God. I'm so nervous now that I die. Like, do I get back up quickly or? Oh, thank goodness. Oh, thank the Lord.
Anyone else catch that? Get it, we're good.
It's almost like having lots of money and status makes people happy. Yes, having lots of money and status has in fact made me quite happy. There's no denying that. Oh, you're right, I should throw a noisemaker. I always forget I have that shit.
Feel safe? I sure as hell don't.
That is a complicated question, CGS. I'll think about it. Oh my god. Good luck over there. TJ is going through your stream right now regarding Crystal Ball. Yeah. So I have heard. Can you read my super chat? Not sure if it got skipped over if you're waiting to read them. Let's find out. It did not get skipped over. What should my strategy be when shitposting on Facebook? Should I be smart or just go for dunks? Just go for dunks. Fucking it's Facebook. Squires with the $10. Do you think a random schmojo starting a channel counts as actual activism, or should they spend their time doing something different? By the way, you're hot, don't lie. It's activism if you get big. I mean, it really just depends on how many people you affect, right? How many minds you can change. But I wouldn't do what makes you happy. Don't think like, oh, I have to manage this threshold of activism woke points, or I am not being a real. Don't worry about that, okay? It's a bad way to think of things. Yeah, I saw that, Bob Loblong. Thank you for the $5. It was really, really, really funny. Would I ever consider reacting to the Murdoch cartoons? I don't know what those are, Big Kumi. Sunshine Desi with the tier 1 sub. Thank you very much, comrade. I'm really, really glad you enjoy my content, and I'm glad you find it, appreciable. Cakes the Stoner with the tier 2 sub. I think you set an example of how we need to engage in debate and discourse in our daily lives. Too much fear of rocking the boat in the public. Yeah, the thing is, I like contention. The thing that bothers me is there were a lot of people who criticize me, and they like freak out when I criticize other people, but I'm one of the most hotly criticized people in the lefty sphere. In fact, I would argue that I'm like starting to approach like contra tier like controversy. Of course, she's much bigger than me, but I am more controversial than her for, I think, very good reasons. people criticize me all the time, and I work with it. I rock with it, and I've changed my mind on stream many times. But you know, Ethan Wilson with the 15 bucks. I thought I was straight before watching you. Now I'm Vosh sexual. Thanks, comrade. I try my best. You know, I shower. I do my hair. William Cleland with the debate of corporate slavery. What are your thoughts on companies having fewer apprentice programs? Seems to have lowered company loyalty. Opinion. Apprentice programs are. I'm not sure. I would need to look more into it. I'm not familiar enough with the outcomes of that sort of thing. Oh my god, is somebody baking bread in my house? Holy fuck. True radical reviewer. You have any thoughts on Lance of the Serfs? Yeah, I like Lance. When's the next time Contra might come on? I don't know. Whenever she wants to. I'll ask her soon. I like Contra, obviously. Cookies? Oh, fuck yeah, hyena. One could only hope, copy wrong. Here's a video about the whole stream PC thing I was talking about. There are benchmarks and stuff that show how good of a stream you can get on one computer. Well, I get a good stream on my one computer, do I not? We play games on max graphics settings pretty frequently here on stream, and I'm streaming it at 7K bitrate, 1080p, 60 FPS. It's just some games are absolute, like top, like very, very top of the line games. Like Doom Eternal on Ultra, or Warhammer Total War 2. I mean, I can look at it. Here, save, watch later. I'll take a look. 7K bits per second. Yeah, that's enough for 1080p streaming, 60 FPS. What would you say are some of the highest aspirations for yourself? Krieg's the Stoner. I'm a very ambitious person. I want every fucking drop of power I can get. Don't you worry. Don't. God! It headbutted me again. It just crashes into me. Riddler with the 10 bucks. Tips for talking to hyper-conservative family/relatives. The only thing you can really do with people who are close to you with disagreements like that is to just flatly say, I think you're wrong on this and your opinions are harmful, but I only want to talk about this if you want to talk about it. And then back off. God damn it. It's not doing it. And back off and wait for them. Oh. Well, I tried. Is there a game or TV show that has super shaped you politically? Yeah, I did see that Le Petit Bourgeois. I would actually say, man, I know there, probably not a game, a show that's really affected me politically. Oh. Trying to think. You know, I think I would have to say Adventure Time. I would say that the sort of, the sort of, broad, almost like existentialist perspective on the value of life and the mysteries within it has made me a lot more appreciative of stuff like democracy as a concept. I think that art like that can remind you that uniformity of opinion, uniformity of experience is a pretty terrible thing. And when you get locked into believing that like life and politics should be done in the pursuit of technical efficiency, you lose out on that in a lot of ways. I have not, but Chungus, heard of that particular thing. And you? How much do you honestly think you can get away with it when it comes to how much this channel is a grift? Libraven, do you think I'm grifting? Probably Spike's Drive. Does this game have quick saving? No. I don't think so. If it did, it would cut down on the quality a little bit. Or if it did, I wouldn't use it. Right. Would you consider woke scolds more left or right? Fuck, yep. Come on. Oh, God. And we're taking an alternate route. How much do you think I could get away with grifting? Probably not. I mean, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I don't really think I'd have very much fun being a grifter, to be honest. So, not something that crosses my mind. TJ just destroyed you in a stream comments. Was he being critical?
It hurt us.
No. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Yeah, Riley Treadway, I've heard that rumor. Just fucking go. Oh, wow. Oh my God, this fucking got pile drove. I think TJ wants to debate you and you see an issue with class reductionism with the Tucker shit. If TJ wants to talk, we can just talk right now. Or we can just have a quick convo. Okay. Still got a long way to go. About out of flamethrower ammo. Why? God damn it, I'm out of everything. Probably a Sam Cedar Radical Reviewer. I'm quite a fan of Sam Cedar. Oh my god, we made it through. Holy shit, it took everything we had, but we made it through. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Alright, how critical has TJ Kirk been of my positions? Is this like a heated debate? Are we mad? Oh, fuck. No, I need a save point, please. There it is. He basically said everyone grifts to a certain extent. Okay, well, let's talk to him.
Videos always shitty to woke scolds do that. It seems like they only want punishment. I respect you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know that I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna wait for more input. Deagle 2029 gave $2.
I like how
like
TJ, when TJ gets subs, a gif of a fat ass clapping cheeks plays. That's good.
There are many reasons why people might be disposed to violent crime. Not all of them are comparative personal failings. I don't even think most of them are.
You've already admitted you're only in it for the money, but you always dodge the question when it's brought up. Libraven, I can never tell when you're being serious. You doing politics or gaming tomorrow? I'm not sure.
Relates itself. Totally different fucking things. Like, violence is necessary to regulate a black market. So when you push a substance that you know people are going to do into a black market, you're basically asking for violence to happen. You are responsible for it. 2008 okay, this is from Deagle 2029. This is the same conservative guy who attacked me earlier with the "Do you like Steve Shives now?" Because I guess he can't see any difference between me
so,
and and whatever, and Steve Shives at this point. But anyway, he says 2008 TJ spoke out against religion. Okay, I still speak out against religion. Religion's stupid. 2011 TJ, peak TJ quality vids. I dispute that, but whatever, sure. 2016 TJ, destroyed SJWs. I just said it. I mean, I literally just attacked SJWs like 4 or 5 streams ago. I still don't like SJWs. 2020, white privilege believer, pro riots, left ard TJ.
I'm here for
so
it.
I explained my position in pretty explicit detail earlier on. I mean, I've explained my position on all this stuff really like in depth. So if you have a criticism, then go ahead and make it. But if you're just like, you believe stuff I don't like, so what? I'm speaking out against the religion of you at this point. What? Does he? Okay. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, I'm interested. Let's do it. So apparently Vosh is trying to talk to me. Where the fuck can I talk to him?
I already messaged you on Google Hangouts.
Oh, is he in this stream? Or is that a fake Vosh? Do I have a real Vosh in here or do I have a fake Vosh in here? Let's see. Vosh. Okay, I'm not seeing this. TJ, you're thick. God damn it. Where the fuck is he?
Maybe he's typing
VWWSH.
or OO.
Stand by. All right. Vosh, if you're watching this, write me on fucking Twitter, all right? I can suss out what's going on there a little easier.
There.
Does
Does no one use Discord? Everyone should be using Discord. For the drunken peasants, I had to use Skype. For Jesse Lee Peterson, I have to use Zoom. And sometimes even StreamYard. I had to use StreamYards for the makeup podcast
right, hold
people.
on, we're trying to make something
and
happen
Google Hangout for TJ Kirk. I do know why I do know why they use Skype though. The drunken peasants guys. They explained it last time I was on. I didn't get it, but they explained. Yeah. Damn, these asses are fat. Look at these claps.
Accounts.
You can get away with a lot on YouTube.
Okay, hold on.
That would not be allowed on Twitch.
Sorry, guys. Hold on one second. No, I haven't got anything yet.
Nah. Oh, he meant to.
Is he trying to reach me on Google Hangouts?
He meant to message. Oh, he didn't mean a tweet.
Okay,
he meant to
hold on.
message. Oh, that's my fuck up. Well, if he's checking Google Hangouts, then there he is.
This is not right. Let's see here.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Now.
Hello?
Hello?
Howdy.
Hey.
How
All
you
right.
doing?
Let me just make sure my program's capturing both of us.
Oh, I'm not putting my camera on. I look like crap right now.
Oh, I was just talking about the audio.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it seems fine. Okay. So yeah,
Hey, how you doing?
pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good. Anyway, I just heard that from some of my stream viewers that you were talking about a video I did recently and had some concerns. So I was just wondering if you wanted to talk about them.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I don't know if you caught any of what I was saying, but I was looking at the crystal ball video.
Mhm.
Not the one you did today. I didn't get a chance to see that. So maybe you've already addressed what I'm talking about here.
I probably doubled down on what I was talking about earlier, if anything. But yeah, hit it
Okay.
up.
Okay, so basically, all right, so let me see how I'm gonna fucking phrase this here. All right, so you're talking about class reduction. Okay, so wait, let's start with Tucker Carlson.
Mhm.
Okay, so I've done the Tucker Carlson retweet thing when he says something I like.
Mhm.
Now I understand let me make sure I understand your position on this.
Mhm.
So your position on that would be like, okay, Tucker Carlson's a grifter. Tucker Carlson's a fraud.
Mhm.
Tucker Carlson's a white supremacist.
Yeah.
So you when I retweeted, I'm platforming it because it's like he has an agenda behind him saying this stuff, like a fake populist agenda.
To an extent, yeah, you would be signal boosting the grift,
Right.
I suppose.
Okay. Well, is that the main? Well, what's the? Okay, so you seem like that's kind of like maybe not the main thrust of what you're saying. So maybe I don't really get it.
I think it's kind of an emergent thing. So when it comes to Tucker Carlson, here's an example. Do you know Hassan Piker?
Yes, I follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, he's a very, very large public figure. Massive, largest left-leaning political streamer in the English-speaking world. Huge online presence. And Hassan Piker has done this a fair number of times too. He's done this. Wow, guys, Tucker Carlson said he was actually pretty based, sort of thing. And I suppose I'm not particularly happy about that, but I would never call Hassan like a grifter or like enabling white supremacy or anything like that. My main issue is that Krystal Ball's occasional adulations of Tucker Carlson fit within a broader pattern of her promoting this sort of like hey, I don't agree with everything they say, but at least there are some
So,
conservatives on the right side economically, and that can lead to some really dangerous outcomes.
I just want to make it clear. I'm not here to defend Crystal Ball or to side with her. I mean, or like side with you against her, because I
Mhm.
don't really know anything about her. I don't watch her shit. I've caught like a little bit of it, but she seems way too like, and this is not like a political judgment. This is just a me internally, like, I don't like the presentation
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like, she just doesn't resonate with me. I think that she wears like these really ridiculous, like exaggerated shoulder pad kind of shit that I'm just not
You
into.
don't like the 1980s like business
Yeah, I mean,
mom
it
aesthetic?
looks like a fashion disaster kind of thing going on. So I'm just kind of like, all right, whatever. It's not my thing. So I'm not really trying to defend her, but there's some of the class reductionist stuff that I hear. And I'm like, okay, that kind of, I feel like that could kind of apply to me. So I get a little defensive about it. But so the Tucker Carlson thing, I've done it. I feel like when I do it, my intention behind it is not so much like this wide-eyed, naive, like, wow, Tucker agrees with me on this, even though we disagree on so much, we agree on this thing. My thing with it is like, okay, even Tucker Carlson is saying this. I can show this to some right wingers that are A, in my audience, B, in my family, and say, like, look, even Tucker has to fucking come around on this shit. So it's almost like that kind of thing, where it's like, okay, if he's saying something that's populist, whether I think he's sincere or not, and I happen to think he's not, and I mean, I think that, I mean, we've seen stuff and, we've seen him basically admit that he's not. So, I mean, there's really not even much of a debate there to be had.
Mhm.
But I feel like, I can still use it to bolster a left-wing populist case to people who are on the right who already respect Tucker Carlson for whatever reason.
Yeah,
So you think
I
that's like, do you think that's like playing with fire, or like?
it is playing with fire, but sometimes playing with fire can be really awesome. I think that's acceptable in certain contexts. My main issue is that okay, this sounds like a weird thing for me to say as a socialist, but
Okay.
the existence of modern day corporations is in some ways very helpful to the interests of progressive people. This is one of the reasons why corporations are usually so quick to do this facile like pretense of progressivism when they claim to support Black Lives Matter or claim to support gay rights or what have you. Corporations make more money the larger a base they appeal to. The more people who they believe they can reach out to, the more money they make. So there's a sort of classist equilibrium that forms when corporations are in part able to control cultural discourse. They profit the most from egalitarianism, at least now, at least in this current era. And my issue is very often when right-leaning people criticize corporations, they're doing it not in the pursuit of equality, even economic equality, but because they believe those corporations are responsible for pushing that social progressivism, which is why fascists are very often anti-corporate, at least in speech, because corporations are the driving force behind our immigration policy in large part, and they don't like the fact that corporations kowtow to what they call this cultural Marxism, this social egalitarianism. So my main criticism, I guess, my main worry is that when we see people like Tucker Carlson spewing anti-corporatist takes, and we say like, hey, even he agrees, the right-leaning people who catch on to that might think like, oh yeah? Hey, me too. Yeah, I don't like corporations very much and the things they do. But they're not thinking of worker inequality. They're thinking of that projected veneer of social progressivism. And I mean, if you go in any fascist circle online, you will find a lot of anti-corporate sentiment. I guess it can just go in a lot of directions. I get really nervous. It's just a really tumultuous time online,
I guess like the thing about it is too, like, okay, so I was talking about this because you had like this thing where you're talking about Crystal Ball and whatever her boring co-host name is, doing like the I don't know. Let's take them out of it. Fuck them. It was about the okay, so you kind of like, okay, so here is on one hand the like BLM id poll kind of interest in racial equality and progressivism and shit.
Mhm.
And here on the other hand is like the class struggle shit. And I think that the accusation being levied at people who you're saying are class reductionist is like, you know, they look at the class reductionist stuff and they say, oh, like they almost look at like the progressive stuff as like, oh, that's a hindrance to it or whatever. Like I don't want to fight that battle. The class struggle is all that really matters, right?
Mhm.
But I mean, I feel like at least you know, I've been labeled a class reductionist before, and I feel like my position on it is that there's a lot of, you know, racial problems in this country that could be solved with a like if you address some of the class problems, you inadvertently address some of those race issues, right?
Sure.
So
Like what?
okay, so like an example I gave earlier in my stream when I was talking about poverty in the
Mhm.
black community. You know, I was talking about, okay, so should you have an like if you're going to solve black poverty, right? Doesn't it make more sense to attack poverty in general rather than doing like a reparations style approach that's tailored to the black community? Just because, like, not because you can still acknowledge, like, hey, the black community is like what, like is like 25% poverty in the black community versus like 10% in the white community or something like that. You can still acknowledge that disparity, but just as a negative piece of legislation that negatively impacts poverty is going to disproportionately harm black people, a piece of legislation that fights against poverty and helps lift people out of poverty is going to disproportionately affect black people, even though it's not a racialized approach.
Yeah, I think that for the most part, if reparations were to be done in this community, in this country, it would probably be better to target it based on income than by race. But I do think there are certain issues in our country that can't really be addressed with a race neutral approach. Like
I
for
agree with that.
example, the criminal justice system.
Right.
If you go through all the numbers, the plurality of evidence very clearly indicates a disparity which is definitively racialized and not at
I
all based on class. There's no real way to like, well, what if we address these other characteristics that? But when it comes to like issues where there's like a
the drug
very
issue, though,
deep,
there is a solution, by the way.
I'm sorry,
There is a solution on the disproportionate drug arrest issue. Not the entirety of the criminal justice system, but on drugs, there is a solution.
what's
That's not
that?
racial. Legalize all drugs.
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen to me, okay? You don't need to tell me twice, okay? You don't need to sell me on that. But yeah. With regards to that, I'm generally not of the opinion that my general argument is that I don't think class and race issues are in any way, shape, or form mutually exclusive. In fact, if I go back through the history of this country, very often it is the racism, it is the exclusion of the interests of people of color that has actually hamstrung the interests of workers time and time again. The easiest example of this is back in the early 20th century. You know, all these unions were trying to strike to protest the horrible conditions of their factories and what have you. The thing was, unions wouldn't let black folk in, or at least most of them wouldn't. Why would they? They hated black folk. Black folk. So when they strike, the black people just do the work. Why the fuck would the black people risk their hides on a strike that they're not benefiting from? So
Right.
my argument fundamentally is when people look at like the Black Lives Matter movement, this isn't a movement which is in any way, shape, or form antithetical to class, class warfare in this country. If anything, given the fact that black people are more amicable to the idea of socialism than white people, I would argue that the two are pretty inexorably intertwined. So for people to look at Black Lives Matter and sneer at it and say it's a distraction from the real issues, I feel like they don't actually care about pushing the class benefits. I think they're just trying to signal to a conservative audience that they're one of the cool lefties. And that's the feeling that I get from Krystal Ball. You're not actually helping anyone. You're just
Right.
appealing to a given demographic.
Yeah. I like I said, I have virtually no knowledge of her or what she does, so I can't really. If there's a defense against her, it's not for me to make.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to defend my own positions on this stuff, and I would agree that, you know, like obviously if you're going to have a notion like solidarity, which is what, you know, my friend Paul's always preaching about,
Mhm.
then you know, obviously if you have exclusion based on race, then you can't truly have any sort of successful solidarity at that point.
Mhm.
So let me maybe pivot to something else that is kind of on that same solidarity line. And I don't know how long you have to talk, but I just want to ask you.
Mhm.
Um, So if you have ultimately, hey, it's the agenda of the left to dismantle these corporate structures or at least radically transform how they operate. You know, you want to do the worker co-op thing, and other people would rather just just dispense with them in general.
Right, right.
Uh, but whatever, whatever the case may be, it's either radical transformation or abolition. That's being you know propagated on the left. So if there's people on the right who hate corporate America for other reasons, whether it be like it's all run by the Jews or whatever the fuck they think, like, is there inherent harm in trying to get together on that issue despite the very different aims? Because I feel like there's been plenty of times in history where people have gotten together for a similar cause with very different aims in their head, and it's like, hey, maybe tomorrow we're going to be enemies, but today we're working together on this. Like, was there really, like, what's the problem with that?
I'm a really, really big fan of tactical unity. This is something a lot of lefties struggle with. The idea that we should be able to work with people we disagree with as long as we have a common goal. So with regards to like,
Why not in this instance then?
liberals like I'll work on stuff like that. My main issue is that I don't actually think I have a common goal with anti-corporate fascists.
Right.
Because I don't think any of the prescriptions that I believe in are prescriptions they would agree to. Now, if say, for example, that I was arguing against misogyny, and I was arguing with a TERF or something like
Right.
that, I could
Yeah.
maybe make some arguments in common with them. TERFs often ostensibly care about misogyny, at least when it's directed at cisgender people. And even if I think their general views are deplorable. But when it comes to fascists, I don't think, like, what specific prescriptions do we have? Tucker Carlson never actually advocates for meaningful solutions. Tucker Carlson will often lambaste the greed of the corporate class, but then does Tucker Carlson actually push for higher tax rates? Does Tucker Carlson actually push for a crackdown on corporate corruption, knowing perfectly well that would indict the billionaires he serves? He directs populist anger against these groups, but I do not think that his solutions or the solutions of his followers would align with mine at any point. If I could get with a far-right populist and get them to agree with worker co-ops, I would agree with that. But sharing a solution is not the same as sharing a common enemy. And that, I think, is the fundamental difference, at least for me.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that addresses most of the stuff I brought up then.
I just wanted to talk to you, man. I missed you.
Oh, okay. Well, I missed you too, Vosh. No, but that pretty much addresses the stuff that I was bringing up in terms of like contentions. And I wasn't, I mean, I was really just looking for clarifications on this stuff. And I feel like you provided them to my satisfaction here. Maybe I could just, I don't know if you want to stick around, I could ask you a few more questions about stuff that's totally unrelated to what I was talking about earlier, but still has been on my mind.
Wait, I'd love to talk. Yeah, I got streamed for another 15 minutes before it's my designated order fast food on Postmates time. So yeah, I'd love to.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, all right. So let me just, here's the thing. This is totally fucking in a totally different direction, but I've seen you describe yourself as an anarchist like 1,000 times, right?
Mhm.
Now I've never really heard you get too in depth on it. And I know that I've heard you actually say like, there's a reason for that because it's like, you feel like it's so far off or whatever, the conditions are, so out of line with what's going on right now. But here's the thing about me.
Mhm.
I have a pathological aversion to any form of authority. I despise being told what to do. And I would really, the idea that we could get along without a government of some sort or a state at the very least, very appealing to me.
Mhm.
But I don't necessarily see the practical reality of it. I guess it's hard for me to even conceive of like even a far future world where that exists. So maybe you could just tell me like what's convinced you, because I want to be convinced. I want to go around and fucking say I'm an anarchist. I want to fucking spray paint A's and circles on things. So
I get really hesitant talking about anarchism. My general argument has always been that I think in order for anarchism to really succeed, it would need to be global. If America, as it exists now, just became an anarchist society,
right.
the shift in like geopolitical relations would not be in our favor. It would have to be like a global movement. And I feel like we're so far away from that by the time it becomes viable, the material conditions of our planet will be so different. Our society, our technology, fuck, maybe even our language and our culture would be so different. I don't even know. Like anything I say now would be
Right.
obsolete in the future. But to sell you on the idea, I'm not anti-government. I love government. Government is intrinsic to human organization. A two-parent household is a government of two
Right.
people.
That's kind of why I changed it to state because
Right, right. But
yeah.
the state, this is sort of maybe this is a bit of an esoteric example, but this is how I like to think about it. Um, Prior to the arrival of Columbus, there were about 10 to 15 million Native Americans across the breadth of North America, and about 30 million in South America. There were more there, I think due to like crop reasons. Um, and with the exception of the empires that cropped up, which were almost all in the South American region, these were mostly tribal societies that got along through basically a de facto confederacy of interconnected tribes where leaders would meet together and delegate decisions to broader communities. And what they had kind of functionally was a giant commune. Now, it wasn't what we would argue for because they had hereditary chiefs for the most part, and they had a deeply spiritual, like superstitious system, and very obviously, like modernity was not present, but they were able to function at a very large scale with nothing even remotely resembling what we understand as a state. And I'd like to believe that it's possible to scale up that example, um, even with like modern technological and social requirements, like our modern expectation for how society is supposed to run.
Hmm.
I know that's a very, very vague opening argument.
Yeah,
It's
I just
such a
don't know.
broad topic, you know?
I really I'm not convinced, but I hope you're fucking right because I really do think a stateless society, if it could be feasible, would be amazing. Simply because like I just feel like there's so many of the problems of our society are so intrinsic to like hierarchical struggles and shit. But I just don't know how you fucking I feel like that's so intrinsic to human beings. I don't know how you get that out. Um, I don't know. Maybe How do you feel about transhumanism, Vosh?
Fuck flesh. I mean, if as long as the conditions for transhumanism aren't gatekept behind wealth, so it's not like all the wealthy people get to live 1,000 years and they have the giant
Right.
dicks and we have to.
I imagine that
Yeah,
I imagine that at least initially it would be, but
yeah,
like
yeah.
most technologies, it seems to kind of filter its way down. But yeah, I would hope that maybe we'd be past this like ultra capitalistic paradigm by the time it starts to come about.
We could hope. Because, I mean, holy shit, right? Can you imagine if we were ruled over by, like, corporate technocrats who are literally immortal? Like, if they die, their neural network just gets re-uploaded into another immortal body?
Yeah.
This revolutionary conditions preclude the idea that all humans can be killed, I think,
This
or
is
at
like
the
the
least
premise of
dethroned.
Altered Carbon, by the way.
Yeah.
I've never
Um,
seen the show, but I read the book and yeah.
what is the largest human organization you believe could exist in a stable sense without a state?
Okay, that's an interesting question. Um, so like present paradigm.
Yeah, like right now, like if you imagine, like of all the organizations we have in this country, from a city to a state to a county level, whatever, like when you think of all those organizations, what is the largest one you think that could function without like an overriding state apparatus? Like it would just operate independently through its own internal structures.
Um, okay, so I guess it's gonna maybe a small town, maybe a large town. I don't know. Probably not a small city. I don't know. I've never fucking given it much thought, but yeah, I would say my gut instinct would be to say like a town of like 500 to 1,000 people, maybe.
What conditions would change between a town of that size and a larger one to make the former viable and the latter non-viable?
I think that here's the thing I think it really kind of splits it off for me is like when you get to that level where you stop knowing everyone in the town,
Mhm.
I think that maybe that's like the cutoff point for me. Um, I think that, when you have the ability to dehumanize certain people, maybe that's when like the hierarchical stuff kind of kicks into high gear. I think that maybe if you view everyone in the town as like we're all in this together and we're all brothers and all this other stuff, but like once you get to the point, like the level where like othering becomes, possible, which I guess it's definitely possible at lower levels, but I think at a certain level it becomes way more likely to happen. Like the larger the group of people, the more kind of othering and pseudo speciation will take place, right? So I think that maybe that would be the thing that would change materially.
What about what if you could take a couple of those small towns and have them sort of confederate? If you had 4 or 5 of them in a shared area, maybe connected by an
Okay.
highway or something.
Yeah. So like basically like everyone's in like a group of like whatever the minimal amount
Right,
is.
you
that
have
could
so the internal
cover.
organizations are preserved, but then for larger things, or maybe for like a firm or two, like maybe
Right.
there's a really large mill that needs like a larger number of resources than one small town could provide. So you have like economic uh organization that supersedes the small town, but people still mostly keep to their small communities. Do you think that would be a functional system, conceivably?
Yeah, I mean, conceivably, I do still worry that like, hey, we're this confederation of city states or whatever the fuck. Um, I do kind of worry that eventually it's gonna like one city state's gonna be like, man, did you hear what they're doing over in fucking city state 22B?
hmm
The sick fucks. We should go kill them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
The hope would be, though, much in the same way that even in communities without police back in the tribal days, people didn't go
Right.
randomly killing their others, that there would be a social preclusion from engaging in that behavior. Nobody would want to trade with a
could
city
be
state that engaged in that kind of behavior, you know?
That's true. I could be wrong about this, but I do believe the murder rate in tribal societies was really high.
I think it was mostly intra-tribal, between different
Right.
tribes, right?
That could be the case. My understanding, and maybe I'm wrong about
No,
this,
I could
because
be wrong. I'm
the
actually
guy that I heard this from, Howard Blum, is kind of a crackpot. I don't know if you're familiar with him at all. But he's kind of like a totally zany sort of like guy. He's written some books, Lucifer Principle, Global Brain, some other stuff, but he's kind of zany. And one of the things he said, I think he told me that like the murder rates, like within within a particular tribe, were like 25% or some crazy high number. But I've never actually tried to verify that as a fact, so I don't know.
That could very
Um,
well be the case, and I'd be willing to acknowledge that as I guess, a concession on my part then. But do
I
you
have like I mean this is just like, hey, a guy told me once, so
Right,
like,
right, right, of course, and
you
I
know,
just tried quick Googling it, and I instantly was confronted with a body of research that it would take me like a day to go through. But so,
so.
even with that being left aside, would you agree, though, that there are systems of social and economic incentivization that would discourage that kind of antisocial behavior amidst these these
Sure. I mean,
small
like, and we
communities?
see that kind of stuff in place to some extent in our own, in our own country and shit.
Yeah,
Any
and
'Cause
it's
I mean, like,
why there's
like,
so
yeah,
little.
everything
Oh,
is
sorry.
like we kind of already have this to some extent where it's like, everything's kind of chopped up into, okay, you got your block, and then you got your city, and then you got your, state, and then your country and your planet and all this other stuff. So I mean,
Yeah.
like, people already kind of have this sort of,
And back during the beginning of the country, back when we had no federal government but just 13 states that operated pretty much like a confederacy, though there was bickering, there weren't like invasions between these different states. My main
right.
argument, and I'm leading really hard here, and I apologize for that. My main argument is I agree with you. I don't think humans work that well at very high levels of organization. The level of abstraction that goes on at the uppermost end of our government, like the idea of a presidency ruling over a third of a billion people, fucking crazy, you know? But I do believe that it's possible to have these overlapping systems of local organization that eventually coalesce into like a confederated, broader whole. If you can have one city that works well together, I think it's possible to economically link a bunch of smaller cities that work well together, or to divide larger cities into small, politically distinct blocks that vote on their own issues, but then those representatives vote on larger issues that affect the entire mega city, and then together they broader community and so on. Essentially, I think that the key to a stateless society that is functional and just is to flatten the hierarchy and to individualize and localize the political organization.
I
So
would hope that technology would take us away from that necessarily geographic approach, though. Maybe.
hopefully, yeah. Ideally, if we could have a more abstracted or more efficient system of division, that would be preferable. I'm just using more of like the simple, like, how do you confederate
Sure,
from
yeah.
the bottom up? But that's the argument I've been given. I haven't read much on anarchist shit, and I, as my chat is reminding me, I know my history isn't that good because there was fighting between the 13 states before the federal government kicked that shit in line. But
Okay.
I do know there are arguments to be made here, so that's the hope that I have. I think it would be healthier for people too. I think it's healthier for people to give a shit about their local mayor, their local municipalities, their local fucking civic system than it is for everyone to be freaking out about the presidency and ignoring everything that goes into their town and its construction.
I would agree with that to some extent, but like I do feel like the tyranny of geography to some extent in that stuff because I live in a place where the idea that I could change anything that's going on here, I feel like is pretty ridiculous because I'm so fucking at odds with the general mentality of my area. And then it's like, well, I could move to another area, but then then this area is just a little bit more conservative. So it's like,
Oh, I
well,
mean, it would never work in our current society because I'm pretty
Right.
sure right now if we had an anarchist confederation, at least a third of the landmass of the United States would be made slaved again. Like it would be it would go back to being a slave state.
they all consented to be slaves.
Yeah, they all. Hey, listen, the black
We
folk
got
could have
signed
left
contracts.
Alabama subsection 28C if they wanted to, but they didn't, and now they're property. Sorry. Hey, listen. I mean, I'm pushing for socialism now.
The Adam Kokesh universe or something.
Right. In 100 or 200 years or whatever, way down the line, if all of this ends up being unviable, fucking fine. I'm not that emotionally attached to the labels. I'm just emotionally attached to the pursuit of means by which I think we can effectively reduce hierarchy. Right now, I know worker co-ops. Oh, sorry?
Yeah, there's a pretty solid chance you won't be alive in 200 years. But
hey, transhumanism, buddy.
Transhumanism, it's always that lifeline, right?
Yeah, you don't know. Streaming's been going well for me. Maybe I'll be able to get my fucking mecha cock.
That's true.
Yeah,
And
down
I
the
mean,
line.
thanks to the trans people who are trailblazing, because really, you guys are the first wave. I don't know if you all know it, but you're the first wave of transhumanists.
They are so fucking. I'm not simping for them or whatever right now. But if you ever look at those, like I think it's called like trans timelines on Reddit or something like that. These side by side pics, like, hey, here's me in 2016, and it's like a giant gruff dude, like looks like one of us, and here's me in 2020, and it's the lithe, just hairless, like completely transformed, fucking like femme girl or whatever. I love that we can change our bodies. Fuck biological essentialism. What? We get one life,
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to when shit gets truly crazy, and I'm looking forward to the backlash to it too. I'm like, oh my god, I feel I see these conservatives and shit like, oh my god, that she's born a man but now identifies as a woman. It's like, okay. Yeah, but you guys are gonna love when there's like centaurs running around and shit. Like, I am a cyber centaur with a fucking 18-inch mega hydraulic cock that it's
yeah,
like,
fuck yeah, absolutely.
You guys are not ready. You guys
Search that shit on fucking Tinder. You have that. You have gender select, age range, and then you have like genitalia transformations, and you just swipe through a bunch of fucking clip art cartoon pictures of like various configurations. Here's the tentacle dick. A lot of variety.
You guys, the conservatives are not going to like the future. It's not going to be their favorite.
No, we're doing pretty good. I mean, it's pretty cool that like at least with regards to trans people, most Americans didn't know what a trans people was like 10, 15 years ago, and now like public acceptance, I don't know, just it feels like things move so fast these days. I'm not saying the fight's done, it's just pretty cool.
Oh, this is like such a fucking nascent phase of like transhumanist fucking. I mean, like I know a bunch of trans people, and I fucking ask them all the time, like, you realize you guys are like the first wave of transhumanism, right? And like, I'm surprised by how many of them don't really realize that, but they totally are.
I mean, I don't think we're going to realize it either, right? Because transhumanist is such a sci-fi term, but when you when people actually start getting like CRISPR gene modifications to like tighten up their skin, or when people actually start getting like genetic height like extenders or shit like that, people are just going to think that they're doing these simple cosmetic surgeries to improve their life. I think one of these days we're just going to wake up and realize that, you know, the biodiversity of the human population is quadrupled due to fuckery, and we all have robococks, and we never really realized what we were doing.
Yeah.
Pretty based.
I love it myself. All right. So I know you got to go. Did want to maybe bring up one last thing with you if you have a moment.
Yeah, sure. I have a moment.
Okay. So I was watching your stream with Paul, and I saw that when Paul mentioned that I was a high school dropout, I saw your eyebrows go whoop. I don't know. You can't see me, but they went whoop. You have to fucking imagine what your eyebrows did. So what was that eyebrow raise about, huh? Why are you so elitist?
No, that actually is it. I was raised in a really privileged environment in a very nice school. I have never interacted with a person who dropped out of high school. I don't have any like conformed preconceptions about the behavior of such people. You know, I'm not stupid enough to believe that there's a meaningful distinction there, but just from an instinctive reaction, yeah, it's definitely like a product of classism, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I won't deny that. No, 100%. Yeah, you can
check your fucking privilege,
my
bitch.
girlfriend makes jokes about that with homeless people too. Like I get really uncomfortable too. But it's something to work on, right? I mean, I acknowledge it's something that I can.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for checking my privilege. I do apologize, by the way, if there's an implied insult there. It's just I guess.
No, I didn't care. I was just curious. No, I mean, I think education. So to me, I don't want. So the reason I didn't complete high school was not a matter of like a lack of privilege or whatever, because I didn't come from a poor family or anything like that. I was just psychologically unsuited to the environment of school. So like it was causing me like profound emotional distress to be in that sort of like regimented, controlled environment, and I had to get out. And also I found it impossible to comply. Maybe it wasn't impossible. That might be an overstatement, but I found it very difficult to comply with the focus learning they were trying to get me to do. So like my thing was I would spend my classes writing terrible goth poetry in notebooks, like when I was supposed to be doing my schoolwork, drawing, or like sitting there like the teacher's trying to teach me something, but I'm like reading like Nietzsche or like Lords of Chaos or Preacher or some shit. So yeah, I just was maladapted to that environment, I guess. So I can't really claim it was like a lack of privilege, and I can't really say I regret it. But at the same time, I kind of worry that maybe like the fact that I quit school and it worked fine for me, at least so far, like maybe that's a bad example for others or whatever. Because I do have some young audience members and shit. So I don't know.
I just want to say neurotypicality is also a privilege. I think that people who are able to work within our school system and feel comfortable in that environment and not have it destroy their mental health, I absolutely think that's a form of privilege. I'm not to say like it's mental illness or anything. I'm just saying like the ability to conform to the rigors necessary to function in that environment, I think is
I won't deny for a second I lack that shit. So I just do.
Because I mean, I was never particularly good at school, but there were certain parts of it that I liked so much that it kind of compensated for it.
You know what was ridiculous?
Able to bounce that
I
out.
don't mean to interrupt what you're saying. Go ahead.
No. Go on. I was just.
Oh, I was just gonna say that like you know, it was ridiculous because I didn't want to fucking participate in school. So there were things extracurricularly I wanted to do. Like I wanted to join the debate club. And they wanted me because they did like a little debate thing in class, and I was able to convince like pretty much the entire class that flag burning is okay when they all started off thinking it's wrong.
Good.
So like I was obviously very persuasive and stuff, and it felt good to argue that stuff. And I mean, I know you know all about debate, but they wouldn't let me in the debate club because my fucking GPA wasn't high enough. So it's like the moment I try to be engaged, I find this like institutional blockade. Like, nope. So
one of the things I'm really interested in, like conceptually, is improving our educational system, not just pouring more money into it or getting lower class sizes or any of that bullshit. But there's a lot of really compelling data out there that the way we run school right now, like, is fundamentally broken. It's insane because, like, when it comes to other forms of human improvement, like say sports regiments, you know, like how do you make a human strong? How do you make them fast? We have this down to a fucking science. We have dedicated an obscene amount of money and time to refining the absolute greatest possible degree of fidelity we can get out of the human body. It's very easy for us to do that. For some reason, we're very dedicated to it. But for the schooling system, what's that one quote? If we were to take a man from the 1860s and pull them into the modern era, the only thing they would recognize is the schooling system. It's Finland doesn't have homework, for example. The data indicates that homework doesn't improve test scores. It just doesn't. It doesn't in any way, shape, or form. It's just not good. You shouldn't do it. The fact that we continue to do it in the absence of this, you know, available evidence for its beneficial outcomes is, I don't know. It makes me kind of sad, actually.
It's
School
tradition,
is supposed to be really, yeah. It's tradition.
It's all, but that's always the fucking fallback for everything in this country. It's like we've always done it that way. It's like, who gives a fuck? Fuck that. That's the stupidest argument for anything.
Literally the most important civic institution in the country, outside like outside maybe, I don't, the fire department maybe, I don't know. No, pretty much it's about as essential a function as you can get, and we just, it's not just that we defund it, we just defer to the laziest possible. I don't know. Yeah,
There's
I mean,
so much,
I'm sure we would agree.
I wish when you were talking to Paul, you talked about the school system, because he worked within the school system for quite a long time and has some fucking crazy insights into some of the fucking ways that, I mean, not just the amount of money that goes into it, because like, but there's the amount of like bloat, the amount that, you know, these administrators like just fucking line their pockets with dough, take all these needless trips to like, we're all going to learn this fucking, you know, new like learning technique over at this conference, but really it's just an excuse to go on vacation and shit and have the fucking, you know, taxpayers foot the bill.
And the textbooks are all made by, well, very often, at least the history textbooks are made by conservative companies that overprice everything and then, you know, drive out competitors so that all the schools are forced into buying from Monopoly, and they update the texts every year. And yeah, Pearson. Yeah. You know, some people have interpreted from my conversation with Paul that I wasn't particularly fond of Paul's ego. I hope he understands that I actually tremendously enjoyed.
No, he did too.
Okay, yeah. I think
I don't know if you saw it. I don't know if you have time to watch it, because I know you stream like every waking moment of your life. But he actually did a stream after your guys' talk about the concept of solidarity, where he built upon it, and he admitted that, like, look, you know, I didn't really, when push came to shove, I didn't have good answers for a lot of the stuff Vosh asked me about. So I've been thinking about it, and he's like, you know, developed his thoughts further. So I think he took it as a challenge to kind of flesh out his ideas a little more. So I think that's about, like, that's the best possible result of an interaction with another human being, I feel like.
I think I'd like to watch that very much. That's very heartening to hear. I'm a fairly contentious person. I argue a lot.
No way, you.
Yeah, and I am, sometimes this gets in the way, I think, of forming like
Look, I was just talking about the same problem myself, watching videos and stuff. Like, I was watching an old video of mine where I said some really fucking stupid shit. And I was like, man, a lot of the reason I said this stupid shit I said was because when I'm watching someone else's video, I'm just in a fucking like attack mode, and I'm not being charitable, and I'm not thinking shit through. I'm just like, I have to destroy whatever's put in front of me. And, you know,
yeah.
Sometimes it can lead to very entertaining results, and sometimes it can lead to really insightful results, but also it can lead to some stupid shit. So
I have to go and probably send.
Yeah, me too. I have a shit ton of donations to read.
Yeah, of course. I really appreciate you talking to me again. It's nice.
No, I appreciate you coming on, because I mean, I wanted to fucking talk about some of this stuff with you, and I feel like I'm glad I got it clarified, because I was really curious about this class reductionist shit and what you actually thought about it. And I feel like, you know, I suspected that if we got down into the minutia of it, there wouldn't be as much disagreement as I initially suspected there was, and I think that was correct. So, thanks for coming on, appreciate it, and have a good night.
Yeah, of course. Have a good night. And also to all the viewers in your chat who fucking hate me, I love you, and I'm working to build a better future so that you can get the educations that you would have needed earlier in life to not be the dumb fucks that you are. All right, have a good one, TJ.
You too, man. Have a good one.
All right. There was some people. There was there were some people in his chat who were being very uncharitable to me. It's okay. I really like TJ. I really like TJ. He's a really cool guy. What was I saying? Oh yeah, sorry, he didn't take the Hooba Booba pill. We'll get him next time. Yeah, hold on.
Don't go nowhere. If you want to get some last minute donos in.
Okay. Sorry, a message in his chat read like he was saying something relevant. But anyway, yeah, I really like TJ. What was I going to say? What was the follow-up to that? Yeah. I do think I could have been more charitable to Krystal Ball, not because I think that what she's done is defensible, but because I think if I scale back my accusations a bit, they're more convincing. That's something that I have to work on. It's true, I do go into the attack mode kind of thing, which is something I need to work on. Even if you settle on, it's like a charge. It's like a legal charge. Like if you're a prosecutor, if you try to stick murder 1, it's much less likely to succeed than if you try to stick murder 3. But murder 3 still puts a fucker in jail, you know? That's what happened with George Zimmerman. George Zimmerman was overcharged with murder 1 when the evidence did not support that conviction. So yeah, it just, you have to be, and then he walked free because it doesn't stick. Yeah, I really like TJ. Were there any follow-ups I had? Were there any follow-ups? No, I think that's pretty okay. Save the game? I saved the game earlier. I already did. I already saved. Guys, the game's not, it's closed. I already closed the game. I saved it. And the game is closed now. All right, let me go over this. Moo, yeah, I'm always interested in theoretical stuff, long as it pans out. Vagina with the $2. Typed vagina in all caps a bunch. Very nice, very true. Dope Smonk with the $5. Thank you.
Slaves built the pyramids. Slaves built the Parthenon.
True. Mr. Herrera with a very generous $5. How can you tell the difference between someone who is truly a grifter versus someone who really did change opinions and happens to make money? You can't. There's no way to know deductively what's in a person's head, but you can usually make some decent guesses based on people's behavior. For example, I do not believe and have never believed that Shoe on Head is a grifter, even though Shoe on Head has moved around a lot politically. But I also have the benefit of being friends with Shoe on Head, so I can talk to her, you know? But then you have somebody like Candace Owens, and like, yeah, you know? I don't know, the data just doesn't stack up. Oh yeah, sometimes people just admit they're grifters, that is true. Sometimes people do. Any thoughts on Adolf Reed in light of recent vid? I don't know who Adolf Reed is. Sorry. Captain Cap Satan with the $2. Nice! Get into drawing. Drawing is fucking rad as shit. Fuck yeah. Hunter is getting no views in his latest vids. Yeah, Hunter's channel has been a bit tumultuous lately, but I think it's mostly because of his political shift. I do sincerely hope that things bounce back up soon. I think that would be very nice. He'll be relevant to the Nazbol Vortex arc? Ah, gotcha. Anarcho Hooba Booba-ist gang. True, Sophie. And J-Rig's friend with you, what's up? Geg gang. Also true. J-Rig's friend with the $5. Yo, the fuck, in first grade they teach us that Chris Columbus is a good dude, but then the 8th grade they teach us of the evils. The system is fucked up and I hate it. Yeah, it could be a little more efficient. Could tell him he's a bad guy off the bat. And Lazy Peasant with a very generous 20 bucks. TJ and Vosh discussions are always 10 out of 10. Yeah, because TJ is very careful with his language and very intelligent. So it's actually really, really fun talking. I feel like I never have to repeat anything with TJ. That's my favorite thing of talking with TJ, I think. I never have to repeat a single fucking thing. Every single time something gets said, every time we share a word, the conversation moves forward. I never feel like I'm treading in circles. It's all very deliberate, you know? Which is a really great feeling, you know? Thoughts on Don't Walk, Run Productions? Wait, don't... I know them. Don't they do a thing? Don't Walk, Run Productions. What do they do? I've heard of them. I don't think I know much about them, though, so I can't really make a definitive statement. Looks like it's a conservative channel? Or is it just, like, anti-Democrat? I don't know. Well, I love you all so much. Thank you so much for the really weird stream. I know it was a little bit all over the place, but I really enjoyed it. Chassis Ginger Boy, I have no advice for that. That's well beyond my scope, my friends. Thank you all so much for the incredibly kind stream. Wait, that's what I say for donations. I'm so fucking out of it. Have a wonderful night, folks. And I'll see you all soon. Hooba booba.